Hey guys, it's Sarah and welcome back to my channel, and I'm super duper excited for today's video because first of all, I feel like it's been a while since I got to actually sit down with you guys and do like an informational type of video. Lately it's all been like adventures. I'm also super excited because this video is kind of more on like the norms and how things work over here in Japan as opposed to back in the US, and part of the culture shock that I've been experiencing. And I'm still learning, of course. I'm still just constantly hearing about new things and finding out about unwritten rules. I want to go ahead and share them with you guys just so you can see how different everything is living over here. I'm gonna go ahead and get started because I do have a dozen things to tell you guys. This one I found extremely surprising. But if you have ever purchased a phone in Japan or had one imported from Japan, you can try and turn your camera shutter off. The actual sound, it will not turn off, and there is a very good reason for that. Let me start off and begin by saying Japan has a very low crime rate, but several years back voyeurism and upskirt pictures were a huge issue here. So I guess a whole bunch of sickos were just, you know, on the train or in busy areas just taking pictures that, you know, were inappropriate. So to combat that, the Japanese government went ahead and decided that they were going to disable the settings for the camera shutter sound and just have it permanently turned on. And as you guys know, Apple iPhones are a pretty standard product. They are hardly customizable, but they went ahead and went out of the way and made all their phones that are shipping to Japan be able to have this feature where you cannot turn off your camera shutter sound. For the longest time, I always just wondered, I'm like, maybe I'm not looking through the settings thoroughly enough. And it's so embarrassing because sometimes I'm screen capping like a whole bunch of things on a train and the trains are extremely quiet. I thought that was pretty interesting, and I ended up looking it up one day. I was like, how do you turn this thing off? And that's when I came up on an article that explained everything. So I was like, oh, okay. Since we're already on the technology subject, let's go ahead and move on to something else dealing with some high-tech cool things. The bathrooms. I am the kind of person that just abhors public restrooms. I will do everything in life to avoid going to a public restroom. Before, I went ahead and got like a portable potty seat just so my daughter would not have to sit on a public toilet. But if you come to Japan, guys, it is absolutely amazing. It is so inviting. It's probably better than your at-home toilet, to be honest. Not only are the bathrooms extremely clean, but they are very high tech. There's like a million buttons on the toilet. There's one for sounds, music, there's a bidet, temperature. Yes, you can control the temperature on the freaking toilet. Like, what? Where did they do that? Those are only the controls that I can personally make out from pictures. Like, I don't even know what the rest of them say. So basically, you sit on the toilet, and if it's one of the ones that are like extremely high-tech, it'll start making noise as you're, you know, doing number one. It's just going to make noise, like whether it be waterfall or like elevator music, lounge music, and as soon as you stop, it'll stop as well. Like, how crazy is that? So you don't have like that awkward moment when you're in the bathroom and you're hearing somebody else, or you're scared to go because you just don't want them to hear you. That is amazing. And then of course the bidet, like who does not want a bidet? You've got like a choice of music types as well. You can control the volume and, like I said, the temperature of the seat. During winter time and when, you know, the toilets can get pretty cold, theirs are going to be extremely warm. Makes you not ever want to leave. As far as like the hand washing and the sinks and hand drying, for the most part they do not have paper towels. They have a lot of air drying, and a lot of the times you don't ever have to touch the sink, the faucet. It's all motion detectors. But that is one of the luxuries that I enjoy here. So if you guys were to ever crack open an egg that you buy at a local grocery store, you guys are going to notice that it's going to be a much darker pigment. Back in the States, you're used to like a yellow egg. Over here, it's going to be a very dark orange. Their hens are fed a much more natural feed. With them eating more natural, their yolks stay more true to color. And at first, it kind of will throw you off because you're not used to that. And when I got over here, I was like, wait a minute, what is going on? And even my husband, he loves his yolks runny. But here, if we buy local eggs, he will refuse to have it runny because of that reason. It's a little bit more flavorful, I would say. It has more of a taste to it, but it actually has more vitamins and more omega-3s and less cholesterol. So in a way, it is a little bit healthier for you. Just so you guys know, if you were to ever eat eggs over here, it is more on the orangey side. Speaking of health, if you come over here, you're going to notice that a lot of the people are very petite in stature. So if you're a taller person, a curvier person, even more muscular, you're going to have a very hard time finding clothes that will fit you comfortably. Or if you're super tall, super curvy, or super muscular, you're probably not going to find clothes at all. There's actually a law here in proportion to age. I think once you hit like your older 30s, maybe 40s, don't quote me on that, I just remember reading an article about it, you're supposed to stay within a particular waist size. So they do it by centimeters here. They do the universal units of measurement, so everything is in cm instead of inches. So you're supposed to stay within a certain amount of centimeters waist wise. So if you're national, that's not to say that everybody's skinny. There are some people, you know, a little bit on the heavier side, but just for the most part, just know that everybody is basically going to be teeny tiny. I went to this mall, I want to say it was La Forêt, I could be lying, I'm pretty sure it was in Harajuku, if not it was in Shibuya, but this entire mall was one size, guys. I don't know about the men's, but for the women it was all one size. Another cultural norm that goes with clothing is that they just very modestly here. I'm not talking about like covered from head to toe, because you'll see some people like showing a little leg here and there. As far as like a lot of cleavage, that's a huge no-no. Your midriff, mostly the shirts that they have are like the thicker strap tank tops. Even if you were to go out at night, people are still pretty modestly garbed compared to US standards. Sometimes it makes it difficult because you can't find clothing that you're accustomed to, and I'm coming from Florida, so we're basically half naked over there already. We're still clothed, but you know what I mean, like it's hot, it's humid, which is basically the same temperature here, and to not find like the similar clothing to match the weather sometimes is very difficult. And to also confirm with the cultural norms, you kind of just have to find a middle ground. So that is definitely to consider if you're moving to Japan. Their streets are much cleaner. People here tend to take care of their environment a lot more, and another thing that goes along with that is in their culture it's very, I wouldn't say rude, but it is more respectful if you were to stay stationary while you're eating your food, you're drinking your drink. Like even the people that go to Starbucks, when you watch them, they will drink all of the drink while they're in Starbucks. They won't go around walking with it. For them it's just more respectful if you were to take your time eating and enjoy your food and enjoy your drink and then go out. Therefore, there's not a lot of trash bins everywhere. That's also because they try to cut down their costs on people having to have that job of picking up trash and garbage bin and all that. Mostly what you'll see are recycling bins for every little thing, which is amazing, the fact that, you know, they're so environmentally friendly here. But as far as throwing your trash away, you're gonna have to wait and take your trash home with you, or go into a store that has recycling bins, because you will not see them on the road hardly anywhere. Having less trash cans around kind of discourages you to kind of make a mess. You get used to it after a while. But we had over, what did they say, over 100,000 locals come on base throughout the span of 2 days for our annual friendship festival. So we have a whole bunch of locals come in, and you'll get to experience the American culture as far as the food. They have a lot of music going on. So many people were bringing picnic blankets, just tents, so many people everywhere. They were just all on the flight line. Just, I've never literally seen that many people congregated in such a confined area. Not that it's confined, it's a huge flight line by all means, but it seemed small with how many people that were over there just scattered throughout the entire place. And when I tell you, I did not see one piece of trash when we left from there. How mind-boggling is that? Over 100,000 people, and that's just the locals. There are people that live, you know, here where we live that came out as well, and there was not one piece of trash from the locals. It's so crazy because we were walking on the other side of base, and then my husband ended up picking like all this trash up on the ground. He was like, all these locals came on base and not one piece of trash could be found anywhere, and you come over here on this side and you got freaking Americans dirtying you know, the ground and all of that. So I was just cracking up. But I mean, it's true, they're very clean people. You don't see them making a huge mess. The trains are extremely quiet here. People will talk, of course, you will hear them. It's still soft enough talking to where you could probably get a peaceful hour's sleep. It's just that quiet. You could literally hear a pin drop, and I have mentioned this before in other videos. It's just amazing to see such a train so congested, like chest to chest, back to back, body to body, whatever, and it's just so quiet. It just tells you so much about a culture and how, you know, they treat one another and how much respect they have for one another. Don't get me wrong, like it's not completely silent all the time, but the majority of the time it is just dead silent. PDA here is a huge no-no. You will rarely see people giving kisses, even if it's on a cheek. You don't see a lot of show of affection, even towards a child. I don't see a lot of mothers kissing on their child, hugging them like when they're saying goodbye. I think it is all kept very private. I've heard people say that in all the years they've been living with our parents, they've never seen them even kiss. Even holding hands, that's extremely rare. Having your arm around your significant other. You will see teenagers here and there doing something like that, but it's never plain out kissing. But if you decide to go out Tokyo like at nighttime, then you will see completely different things. And my husband and I learned that the hard way. We were so used to not seeing any of that, and to see that when we went out, we were just like, whoa. They were like full-on makeout session in the middle of the street. So that was pretty interesting to see. Just be prepared for that if you come to visit Japan. Just know, you know, you're not supposed to do that kind of thing. So the past couple things I just told you might kind of make you think that Japan is like very strict. For the most part, they're very like straight arrows, if that makes sense. Just culturally respectful all throughout. But one thing I do have to say about Japan is that public drunkenness is accepted. I don't even know how that goes with everything else. I guess it's because they work really hard. They work 6 days a week instead of the regular 5, and they work long hours as well. And don't even get me started about their school. So I guess when they wanna let loose, I guess you wanna say, they do it hard. I do say public drunkenness very loosely. Like if you're belligerent, if you're being violent, you're being loud, then that's not acceptable whatsoever. You have to be an acceptable kind of drunk. You can't be just out there, you know, doing all this extra stuff. Be like a happy drunk, basically. Crime rate here in Japan is extremely low, so it's very big news whenever a crime is committed. I think they have an average or 1 or 2 gun related crimes per year. Just think about that, just let that sink in. There's not a lot of murder. I've only heard of 2 since I've been here, and one of those were committed by an American. That's like a whole nother story. This one might surprise a lot of you, but over here, no tipping is required. So when you go to a restaurant, your waitress, waiter, whatever might give you the best service possible, and you might want to feel like you want to tip them, but I discourage you to do so because over here they just see it as a standard to give, you know, great service. It's just what they're used to. If you end up tipping somebody by accident or something like that, it'll probably end up chasing you down and giving you your change back, which I mentioned this before. That's definitely something I have to get used to doing again for when we go back to the States. Something else dealing with restaurants, they do not believe in takeouts. First of all, most places are not licensed to have takeout. I don't know why that is. I guess it's just, again, so you don't make a mess. I don't know, maybe just goes with their culture. I'm not quite sure. I haven't really looked into it. Even when my husband and I went out and he was trying to find me food, they would not allow him to take the food at first. Eventually they let him take the food, but traditionally takeouts are a huge no-no here. Even if you were to eat your food, sit down at a restaurant, and you have like a lot of leftovers, they don't allow you to take it. You definitely have to leave the house with an empty stomach and make sure you eat all your food, or just not order that much at all, just so you know if you don't end up wasting your money. Sometimes you will find American chained restaurants or restaurants that cater to Americans and other nationals that allow you to take doggy bags, but for the most part, like the rest of Japan, takeouts are just non-existent. That is it for the video, guys. If you like this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up and make sure to leave a comment down below, especially if you found it interesting. I will definitely make another one for you guys. Make sure to subscribe if you have not already. I do lifestyle videos on Sundays and do Japanese videos on Wednesdays. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video.
So I may or may not have brought Tupperware to the mall and transferred food to the Tupperware just so I could get the comforts of my own home. I'm just saying, if you want takeout from anywhere, just bring your own Tupperware, transfer it quickly, and get out of there.